Now, on 105.9 FM and streaming worldwide on the WMAL app. O'Connor and Company.
It is 6:37. It's O'Connor and Company here, live at CPAC's Radio Row. Come on down and say hi. And just have a party with us.
We are partying. It is early.
A couple of listeners just walked by and we're talking to us. Naval Academy graduates, by the way.
And they had plastic straws, by the way, too.
Everybody's bringing their plastic straws now. Coming up at 7:05, Erica Donalds. That's the wife of Byron Donalds. She's an advocate for school choice. She'll be on stage today. Kira Davis at 7:35. John Eastman has a panel today, or a presentation about lawfare. John Eastman is a constitutional law scholar, and they ruined this man's life.
Yes.
They continue to try to ruin this man's life because he gave legal advice to the President of the United States in 2020. Jack Brewer, NFL legend and a great guy, is joining us at 8:35. That's Patrice Onwuka.
Good morning. Happy Friday, everybody.
It is a happy Friday here at CPAC, especially when we get to sit down with the Chang family, Gordon Chang and Lydia Chang. They're bringing your... They're delivering plastic straws. Everyone's listening to the plastic straw rant, and they are now delivering straws to Patrice.
Thank you to all of our WMAL
Thank you
listeners.
very much. That's very
so
kind
much.
of you. Good Lord. Gordon Chang and Lydia Chang, who remain silent in the partnership. Yeah, she's not allowed to speak. But Gordon is here. Gordon, good morning. It's always good to talk with you.
Good morning, Larry, and good morning, Patrice.
Good morning,
in
sir.
pink.
Yes. And before I forget, you've got a book coming out, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. You always tell it like it is with that title. When does it come out, the book?
It was October 1st.
Oh, it's already out. I apologize.
The anniversary of the establishment of the People's Republic of China.
How have I not read this yet? Okay, I need to get that.
Because you're dumb, Larry. That's...
Okay.
He's like the most polite guy forever, and now clearly we have known each other too long. But you're right. That is the exact correct answer. I will read it. Yeah. But let's flesh that out a little bit. China has designs, obviously, on domination. But specifically, how long have they put a plan in place to undermine this country as we're seeing it play out now?
This started from the beginning of the People's Republic, October 1st, 1949. And Mao Zedong had always believed in worldwide Chinese rule for two reasons. One of them is because that was the imperial era system, where Chinese emperors believed that they had not only the right but the obligation to rule what they called Tianxia, or all under heaven. And Xi Jinping, the current ruler, he actually believes all of that, and he talks about this. These are the themes that he has propagated even before he was China's top leader. The other reason why they talk about worldwide rule is because they're communists, and they believe that there should be just worldwide communism.
Well, ultimately, communism will, if it ever works, it'll only work if every person on the planet is under that thumb, because as long as anyone breathes free with a free market and a free economy and liberties, that undermines communism's existence.
Absolutely.
Right. So
it's against, as Havel said, it's against nature. It's against human nature.
So now here we are, the United States. We have a president who actually recognizes the real threat that China poses. And let's just look at the economic impact right now. President Trump's tariffs. We saw in President Trump's first administration, tariffs particularly on China, on particular goods. This time around, we're seeing tariffs that are much more sweeping. I don't think we saw a big price increases the last time around, but the media, a lot of people are in an uproar, even free marketers, which I used to consider myself, and I still do, but recognizing that we really have not had free trade, and now seeing these tariffs on China, what do you think the impact is going to be, both from an economic standpoint, but also a geopolitical standpoint?
Okay, the 10% tariffs this year, the American consumer is not going to feel. Go back to 2018.
Yes.
Those were 25% tariffs on most Chinese goods. Americans didn't feel that either, despite the outrage in New York and Washington among economists, analysts, and everybody else. And the reason is that China picked up somewhere between 75 to 81% of the cost of those tariffs because it needed access to the U.S. market. That's true now. Actually, even more true. China is more dependent on the U.S. market today than it was in 2018. Now, if Trump goes, and during the campaign he promised at least 60% tariffs and then 10% for fentanyl, that's 70%. If you get to 70% tariffs, we will feel that. But we got to remember, this is not peacetime. we are on the edge of war. And clearly, we need to build up our manufacturing behind high tariff walls.
Gordon Chang is our guest. And Gordon, the showdown over the Panama Canal that took place between President Trump when he was coming into the office, and he said, no, we didn't hand over the Panama Canal back in the 70s thinking it would end up in China's hands. And Panama's pretty quick acquiescence to what appears to be an acquiescence to the president's demands on this. We have to see how it plays out. How impactful is that in Beijing? What played out there? Because it sort of has disappeared off the radar now.
Yeah, it's extremely impactful, and the reason is, so far there hasn't been much of substance that's changed. I mean, the president of Panama, yes, he announced he was not going to renew his Belt and Road memorandum with China, and he even said, I might terminate it early. That's symbolic. But symbolism is really, really important to the Chinese because they're worried that this is the beginning of a trend around the world where the U.S. will actively oppose China's Belt and Road Initiative. And they're worried about that because we've got much more power than they do. So, this is one of those things where we Americans, we don't understand that symbolism is important to hardline and especially communist regimes.
You've stay there because we have more to talk, because you basically just said, as far as China's concerned, we are at war right now. I don't know if America knows that or if we have responded in kind. So I want to talk about what that really means, what that means to our military and the strategy under President Trump for the next 4 years. So Gordon Chang stays with us here. I should ask first.
Yeah, of course.
Can you say, all right, good.
This is too much fun.
It's 6:40.
Later this morning in the Chris Plant Show, the Communist Chinese trying to recruit Biden administration officials and other Democrats in Washington. 9 a.m. on WMAL.
And we continue now with Gordon Chang, his book, Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. Gordon, I think I should get you to comment on Chris Plant's tease right there. About Communist China recruiting former Biden administration officials. Is that surprising?
Sure.
I mean,
and
didn't Anita Dunn say that Mao Zedong was her political hero or something?
Yeah, this is also a Republican problem. And conservatives, liberals, they're all being bought. So this is not a partisan issue.
You've been saying that as far as China's concerned, we're at war with them right now in terms of economic warfare, monetary warfare, and their designs around the planet. Yes. Is that fair to say?
It's fair to say.
And the cyber attacks, by the way, that we continue to.
Intellectual property attacks.
It must be hilarious for you. Everyone's screaming about Doge, accessing personal financial information. And Gordon, I mean, you've been saying
the Chinese have it.
The Chinese have tapped into all of these systems already.
Elon Musk should go to his friends in Beijing and say, why don't you hand it over to me? The reason we're at war, Larry and Patrice, is because the Chinese say we're at war. In May 2019, People's Daily, which is the most authoritative publication in China, when People's Daily speak, it's China speaking. They carried a landmark editorial that declared a quote-unquote people's war on us. Now, PLA Daily, which is the official website of the Chinese military in 2023, were very helpful. They said people's war means total war.
Wow.
China has this doctrine of unrestricted warfare, which is using any tactic to take down the
everything's
U.S.
on the table.
Wow.
So we're oblivious because we had a president in Biden who wouldn't even call them an adversary.
Yes.
We need to call them what they call us. Enemy.
They were business partners.
ENEMY.
Yeah.
Enemy.
Right, real fast, and then I know Patrice wants to get in here, but with regard to that warlike stance, I know a lot of people in the military, and it seems like their next deployment is all in Asia. They're Okinawa, Guam, Philippines. There's a lot of motion right now. On cable news, everyone wants to talk about Europe and the Middle East, but it seems like the people in the military are really focused on the Pacific.
Yes, and they should be because China's getting ready. I mean, it's the fastest and biggest military buildup since the Second World War.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they're stockpiling grain and other commodities.
Interesting.
They're trying to sanction-proof their regime. They're firing Chinese military officers who are opposed to going to war. They are mobilizing civilians by calling up reservists and taking civilian factories and then turning them into making products for the military. The list goes on and on. These guys are serious about killing Americans.
So just to step back from us directly taking on China, China's intervention and alignment with Russia, like a new axis of evil, what is their play there? Is it that they're, in terms of Ukraine, how are they seeing their alignment with Russia? Is it just like friends of my friends and then, or friends of my enemies, that kind of situation?
That's a great question, Patrice. Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin see the world in the same terms. They think that they are on the same side. They view the same adversary, which is us. And by the way, if we want to deter China, we beat the crap out of Russia in Ukraine, because that's going to show them. Because, by the way, China green-lighted the invasion of Ukraine, and China's been supporting across the board the Russians in that war effort. And so when we say we'll do a deal with the Russians, the Chinese say, oh, great, because that means the Americans won't fight us. They'll do a deal with us over Japan, Taiwan, Philippines, whatever. So we're not understanding the way the Chinese look at things. And we are doing things that are making it more likely that China will go to war and Larry's daughter will eventually have to file the ultimate weapon against.
So do you think the negotiations right now between President Trump and Putin is that the right tact or no? Okay.
No. What right tact is, because you can't separate Russia from China. They view themselves too closely. The way to separate them is you defeat Russia. That way, and that's actually a lot easier than most people think right now, because we can do it with sanctions.
Gordon Chang, the book is Plan Red, China's Project to Destroy America. You've got a busy morning. CPAC this morning is going to be replete with international issues and international conversations. You're going to be on stage starting, I think, at 8 with much
8:40.
of this. 8:40. And then National Security Advisor Michael Waltz is also going to be presenting and is talking about the priorities and national security issues. And you have confidence in him and the president's team right now?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
He's great.
Great.